What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the End Zone after an exciting week of the United States Football League. In week 3, we also had XFL news, Major League Football. The Canadian Football League draft is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time, I believe. It could be Eastern, but so many exciting things going on in the football world. Fan-controlled football has been killing it, getting Kelly Bryant, Martavius Bryant. They were trending on Twitter with the infamous pick 6 by Tyreek Hill, picking off Jameis Winston. So much going on right now in the football world. Let's talk USFL to start. So y'all go ahead and post y'all's questions. We're going to go till 6:30. It's 6:01 right now. We got a good amount of people and subscribers in there in the chat. So I'm going to start with the very first question from Mike G. 950K for Breakers Stallions game. Your thoughts? This was the primetime game of the week. The two undefeateds, the two best teams, arguably, in all of the United States Football League. 950K, almost 1 million. It's really hard to tell with what Fox is going for here. I think that 950K isn't necessarily a bad thing because it's fairly close to the 1 million mark for viewership on TV. Obviously, would you like to see more on the primetime game, on possibly the biggest game so far of the year? Both teams at 2-0 prior to the game. I would say yes, but 950K isn't bad. I don't think Fox is going to really be hurt too much by this. I trust that, this is a made-for-TV league, and they're definitely selling ad spaces and keeping people watch games. I mean, 950K, they're also competing with a lot of other sports going on right now, which is why it's kind of a tough time. But still, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I would like to say my thoughts on the game. First of all, an incredible matchup. That was a really good game. Kyle Sloter, some people have mentioned, actually Mike G, it looks like you commented that Sloter playing hurt was definitely a factor. With these small rosters and some of the rough offensive line plays, we have seen some quarterbacks a little bit banged up. We also didn't get to see TJ Logan. I thought that was huge for this game. TJ Logan's one of the better running backs in the league, not only because of what he can do on the ground, but what he can accomplish through the air as a receiving target. And I think that the Breakers missed him. And when they rematch in week 8, and if both teams, assuming that they're healthy, again, can't predict that, we don't know what's going to happen, I think that the Breakers could take that one back. Because if they have TJ Logan, it could be a totally different game. That's one of the guys who they lean on offensively. And the Breakers defense, I thought that they did their job. They did what they could do. Really, you don't want to take away anything from the Stallions, though, defensively, forcing those important, crucial turnovers and really playing hard. The best defensive showing from the Stallions all year long. When the offense was spotty, they had a couple of big plays, but Jamar Smith only completed, 39% of his passes? So it wasn't really a great day offensively for Jamar Smith. Is Kyle Sloter playing hurt and should he get a rest? Good question, Jared. So, yes, Kyle Sloter is dealing with multiple injuries, which is really unfortunate because, again, he is one of, if not, depending on who you ask, the best players in all of the United States Football League. And he's been hot for the New Orleans Breakers, leading the league right now in passing yards. I know that some of that is due to Brian Scott being injured. We just haven't seen anything from Zach Smith, the backup. And they play the Gamblers next week. That's a crucial game. I wouldn't want to sit. I don't know. I wouldn't want to sit anybody for an interdivision game playing the Gamblers. The Gamblers are getting hot right now, too, at quarterback with Mark Thompson at running back, who's leading the league in rushing yards, he has been incredible. He's a one cut to the house. And then Clayton Thorson, say what you want about his first 2 weeks. Last week, I thought he showed a lot better. And I was really excited for that because I've been wanting to see Clayton Thorson or somebody along the Gamblers offense really take control. And the more I watch Clayton Thorson, the more I believe if he can just settle in, get going, get quick passes, and use his athleticism from time to time, it could be good. I know I kind of went off on a tangent, not really related to the question here, but let's move on. But no, I don't think they should sit Kyle Sloter, especially not next week playing the Gamblers. What are your thoughts on the MLFB store? I didn't think it was that bad. They had some nice merchandise. It's Champion, right? I mean, I think everybody pretty much likes Champion. Champion's not a bad brand. I mean, they don't have teams yet. It's just like the XFL merch right now. I'm probably, I might buy an XFL jacket. The one that The Rock was wearing, the white one, looks pretty cool. But I'm definitely going to wait for the team merchandise to come out because I'd like to see what teams we have. What stadiums do you think the USFL teams will play in after this season? That's a great question. If I were the USFL, I would not target big National Football League sized stadiums. So it's kind of in general, I would target smaller size stadiums, MLS size stadiums. Protective Stadium, the stadium that they're playing in right now, isn't really that big, home of the UAB Blazers. It's not a huge stadium, and I don't want them to play in stadiums like in the XFL when the New York Guardians played in MetLife. Just too big of a stadium. When you go with these smaller stadiums, it looks much better on TV and it makes the league look better. And you end up selling out the stadium and the atmosphere is incredible and it just makes for a better product. So I hope that answered your questions, Jose, because I definitely think that they should target the mid to small size stadiums most of the MLS teams, Major League Soccer teams use. Any clue on what the MLFB cities will be? Well, I'll go to the website real quick. I did do a video on my predictions, and based off what we know from the original MLFB years ago, we know that the attack was supposed to be in Arkansas. Can't remember where the Force, the Texas Independence, and the Virginia Armada, those were the original names, but they could change because we've heard rumors of there being an Alabama team. So maybe it's the Alabama attack or possibly the Alabama Force with the Texas Independence and the Virginia Armada. Really no way to tell right now. We kind of sitting and wait, but those could be educated guesses based on what's happened in the past for MLFB, and we'll see what they do moving on. Pittsburgh should have suspended the running back, not fired. Ref, I think that is a great point. I don't think that they should have suspended De'Veon Smith. They could have traded him because there are a lot of teams that would gladly take De'Veon Smith, one of the best running backs in the league. He was in my top 10. He was outstanding in the XFL. He was outstanding in the Alliance of American Football. Not to take away really from what this rushing attack for Pittsburgh has done, I do like what Garrett Groshek and Madre London have done. And Madre London was the guy who came in when they cut De'Veon Smith. Madre London played in Europe, and he has been incredibly exciting to watch. I have loved seeing Madre London out there on the field. I would also love to see De'Veon Smith. So if I were them, I would have tried to trade them, maybe get a wide receiver or somebody else, because it's really, they only have Gaither. He's a good wide out. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they could have gotten more than just cutting him, because it is silly to cut somebody over the pizza. That's my take. But yes, perfect point. They should have at least suspended or traded. Jared, Did you hear that the New Jersey Generals, or one of the teams, is out of all offensive linemen due to injury? Yeah, so was that the New Jersey? I heard one team was down to 6 via Twitter. And that's just a problem with these small rosters that the USFL did. Some part of me wishes, and feel free to disagree because this is just an opinion, kind of me talking, reading these questions right off the bat, that the United States Football League started off with 6 teams and had larger rosters. That, to me, would have created more competitive play. Not saying the play isn't competitive, but when guys are going down, we're seeing lots of crucial injuries already this season, and we're seeing talented players get injured and cut almost immediately. It's really sad. And we are seeing offensive lines getting banged up. And that's going to be really tough. They're going to have to pull in offensive linemen, free agents who are going to come in, and we could expect some bad O-line play in the future with some of these teams that are suffering with those injuries. But at the end of the day, everyone's in the same boat. Everybody has a small roster. You see a team like the Michigan Panthers, or I believe, it was the Michigan Panthers. So they, to compensate for these small rosters, have an amazing punter. He's incredible, but the dude cannot kick field goals or extra points. So they're going for 2, and they're going for it in the red zone on 4th down, not really kicking the field goals, not even attempting it. So you got to find ways to be creative, sign guys who can maybe play both ways, play everything. And it doesn't help that all these players also have to play special teams because, man, that's tough. But yeah, no, it's a problem right now for the USFL, these injuries and these small rosters. It's making it hard, but at the end of the day, everyone is in the same boat. The Fox and NBC numbers are important. FS1, USA, Peacock, not so much. That is very true. I think Fox and NBC really want to see what they can get out of their main broadcasts, their primetime broadcasts. FS1, USA, and especially not Peacock. I mean, Peacock is a streaming service. What does it cost? $5 a month? I'm already subscribed to it just because I've had it. I don't really know why. I think I had it for the Premier Lacrosse League and then some other things. Pretty sure The Office is on Peacock. But yeah, Mike, great point. Fox and NBC numbers are the most important. But if they can score well on Fox Sports 1 and USA, then you know that they're doing something right. So definitely a great point, though. I'm sliding up to see some of the more questions. We have a lot coming through. Ryan Ortega, I think I pronounced your name right. Not much of a USFL fan? Comment, Ryan, what league you're rooting for. But honestly, and this is a hot take, the USFL games have been so much closer. Now, I'm not saying more exciting, more everything. I'm just, again, this is very opinionated off the top of my head. I feel like the games have been more competitive and closer. Part of that could be all the games, because they're in Birmingham, there's no travel fatigue for these players. It's very easy. You're just walking across from your hotel right to the game. The hotel is like 5 feet away from the stadium. And that could make it a lot easier for each team to be ready for these games and not really have to travel. I play college lacrosse, and I don't play well when I travel. And, I'm 21 years old, but these guys are also young, and some of them are older, but it's hard to travel and play. So that's just one thing that could be a reason why. Also, the games, I do believe when it gets near the end of the games, when the offense starts scoring more, it's because of the fatigue of the defense and a lot of guys playing both ways. It could bolster up the scoring. Little things like that. There's also rule changes that help the scoring and make it a little bit more competitive. Chris Mason. Chris, by the way, I've always seen your, I guess, is it thumbnail profile picture? Love it. Looks really awesome. Kyle Sloter when 100% is the best in the, I assume you mean in the USFL. I I could definitely agree with that. But, he didn't play his best in week 1. That's when we expect him to go off. We've really only seen, no. Week 3, although they came up short and lost, I still think that he played really well in week 2 as well. But Slaughter is a beast. And now with Brian Scott down and Case Cookus possibly taking over, it could be Slaughter's league. It could be. Do you think the Generals go forward with DeAndre Johnson as their full-time quarterback? Ryan Fast and Farias. I love Luis Perez to death, but I need my Generals to commit to one. The 2 QB system. Okay, yes. Great point, Ryan. The 2 quarterback system does not seem to be working because you have times when the quarterbacks are getting into rhythm and then they're just completely getting replaced. And I've seen 2 quarterback systems before. I've seen it in college football. Notre Dame ran that a lot in the 2010s and Brian Kelly's early tenure. I'm not a fan of the 2 quarterback system. I think that you got to stick with one. And DeAndre Johnson was able to pass the ball a lot better. I think that if you can do RPOs, if you can get the ball out on screens and then get the ball out quickly, not even on screens, do it how maybe the Stars have been doing it with the shallow crossers, maybe some mesh. Get creative, okay? I'm not going to tell the coach how to do it, but DeAndre Johnson's athleticism is insane. That is also one thing that I want to talk about in the USFL that's made this league so fun is the athleticism of many of the quarterbacks, including DeAndre Johnson. He spices the game up when he is in. He is fun to watch. When he's out there, when they're running those read options, it almost feels like they're unstoppable, and they've pretty much been unstoppable with DeAndre Johnson in. And again, I'm not sure necessarily how the USFL is dealing with trades, but there are teams that could use quarterbacks. There are teams that are having injury problems. Man, trade Luis Perez and get something big from him. Or DeAndre Johnson, whichever quarterback I would go with Johnson just because I feel that the rush game gives them a better opportunity to win games. That's just my opinion. But Luis Perez is no joke. He's an incredible quarterback in spring football, and he's someone that other teams would love to have. You don't think the Panthers would like to have Luis Perez? You don't think the Maulers would like to have Luis Perez? I know that maybe you wouldn't want to trade Luis Perez in your division, but if you could get somebody good for Luis Perez to come in and fill a hole in your roster, why not? Why not? Offensive line. It's a position group we just spoke about, how teams are really low on those numbers. Trade away. Jared, yep, that is the cut that I was talking about. But we've seen that cut a couple times this season where he's broken away. He's also really physical. I've enjoyed watching Mark Thompson. He's been one of my favorite spring football quarterbacks to watch, possibly ever. Do you think Tampa has a chance against Beeham? Listen, everyone has had a chance against Beeham. All these games have been close against the Stallions. It's going to go down to the wire. That's my prediction, just because that's how every game has gone for the Birmingham Stallions. And I think that they could have a chance. This game will be fun for sure. I'm interested to see if Jordan Teamu can get more, because I think a lot of people thought that Jordan Teamu would do more. Let's just say that. There were a lot of drops in week 1 and week 2, though, from their wide receivers, and you can't blame it all on Teamu. They made cuts, like they cut Jordan Lasley. He had some bad drops, and they added some new guys in that I think could help, but they have a chance. Let's just say that. We talked about the size of their defense, how good their defense can be, but the past 2 weeks, they haven't been so good. Week 1, Bandits defense looked incredible, but weeks 2 and 3 have been a little rough, and they need their offense to step up. And what we're pretty much finding out is this league is getting pretty offensive. There's a lot of scoring, and that's what has made it exciting. I think Kyle needs that Breakers O-line. Oh, Kyle needs to see it that Breakers O-line is trash. The unfortunate thing is a lot of these offensive lines are not very good. But, I just don't know if you want to give him a rest this week. Maybe give him a rest next week when they play, I believe, the Generals. Give him a rest in a game that doesn't really affect them getting to the playoffs. You'll look like The Rock when you wear that XFL jacket. Maybe not The Rock. I'll look a little bit smaller, just a tad bit. What happened to the USFL and XFL if they compete with each other? What will happen? Nobody knows. We still, the USFL still, before they can think about getting or competition with the XFL, they got to get through their first season. And the XFL, they've got to put a season up first. So we still got to see. There's a long road ahead and still a long USFL season ahead. What should the USFL do about attendance? They're not worried about attendance. I've talked to people within the league, and they're not worried. I'm going to talk to somebody on Friday, which I'm excited about, who's high up in the league, and just to pick their brain. But it seems like their focus is selling ad space. The one thing that I think they could do to just open up revenue streams is maybe sell more sponsorships, maybe even on the jerseys, on the helmets, on the field. I feel like that's a missed opportunity. But other than that, they're not worried about selling tickets. And the Birmingham games are doing all right. They're doing just fine. You'd probably like to see a little bit more fans there, but they're doing all right, for having random teams from random cities playing in Birmingham, Alabama. I think they're doing just fine. Matt McGloin is available. No. That'll bring back some bad memories. Yeah, Keith, I am doing a video on the XFL football tomorrow, so watch out for that one. Jared, should the Panthers use Shea Patterson for passing, Paxton Lynch for running? Because that is the only thing he is known for. That is all he did with the Denver Broncos and didn't improve his throw. Shea Patterson's not the best passer either. He kind of reminds me, it's hard to tell. So Shea Patterson is good rolling out on the perimeter, throwing those boundary throws. That's where he's most successful, and he can do it pretty well. Thing is, that doesn't really translate a lot to the pro game, and that's something that's very tough to do, to escape the pocket every time and throw those balls. Honestly, if I'm the Panthers, I'm working on, like we saw with Paxton Lynch, his first 2 drives, he was throwing the ball fairly well. He should have had a long ball that was dropped. I forgot by who. Was, I believe, the tight end, but I could be mistaken on that. That was a really nicely thrown ball. For me, it's with Paxton Lynch, get the ball out quickly, concisely, use him intelligently in that run game because he is dealing with the injuries. But yeah, if I had to choose, honestly, go with Paxton Lynch. He got really, really good looks. I know that his stats were incredible, but remember, he had a drop pass that 100% should have been caught, most likely. And, he's an incredible runner, and that can open up the offense for them. The offense felt more open. They were able to run the ball with the running backs when he was in the game. So I think it's complementary football. These players' styles complementing each other. I've not enjoyed watching Shea Patterson. I'll say that. Yeah, more stuff about the questionable roster sizes. From what we know from the XFL will have bigger rosters. Maulers lost 0-24. I missed any shred of offense they showed against the Panthers. Madre London and Garrett Groshek had a couple of nice runs. That's about it, though. That is about it from what we saw with offensively. Two really poor showings from the Pittsburgh Maulers offense. All right, so we got 5 minutes. I'm going to try and rapid fire through all these questions. The Rock seems to be good to be true. Seems to be too good to be true. When does the bottom fall out in the XFL? IDK. Well, he's got a lot of money to put behind it. Why did they go with smaller rosters? The player pool too shallow? They probably went with smaller rosters to save money. I mean, we don't know exactly why, but that seems the most likely. I don't want to say definitively why they did, but that would make the most sense to me. It's going to be rough next season when guys leave for the NFL, like Will Likely. Yeah, but that's what these spring leagues are going to go through in the early years. If they can get on the ground, get their footing, get a couple years under them, then what they can do is sign these guys to multiple year contracts, pay them more money, say, hey, you can go take a chance in the NFL. You're, likely to get cut again. Stay with us. Be a franchise guy in the United States Football League. Sure, it might not be as big as the National Football League, but would you rather be practicing on a roster where you never see the light of the day, or would you rather be a star in our league? I think that those are good selling points, and you also could pay the players. That always helps. If USFL is the second season, Kirby Wilson will be fired. I can't argue with that one, unless he starts getting some wins. I got Peacock Premium for free because I have Xfinity Internet. Now I'm watching English Premier League and Premiership Rugby besides USFL. Well, Jared's got the end, so if y'all have Xfinity Internet, y'all get it for free. Jarrett Copeland, do you think the USFL or XFL will survive, or both? Honestly, there's no way to tell. There is simply no way to tell. I think that the USFL will get through the first season, but say they get through the first season and Fox and NBC come together after and say it's not worth it, they could easily just cut the cord on it, and we just have to wait and see. It's a unfortunate game of patiently waiting, but the XFL is going to do everything really professionally. And, they're also very motivated. They're invested. So hopefully the USFL is 100% invested as well. The FCF on Twitter is getting tons of attention, especially last week with Terrell Owens. They're doing a fine job on social media. Tell you what, I'm working on doing a video on FCF. I can't really cover the league week to week because there's so much going on in it. I try to watch some games here and there. It's very exciting arena football, but I'm going to try and go to a game and maybe do a vlog of some sort. Would y'all like to see that? I think it could be fun. Top 3 running backs in the United States Football League. So you could go based off the statistics, but I might shake it up a little bit. All right, I might shake it up a little bit. Mark Thompson is my favorite. I think that he is number 1. He's been incredible. Just his physicality is so fun to watch. His ability to cut, it's incredible. And he's done it to every team he's played. He's been that guy. And I've been saying it since week 1. Feed that man, Mark Thompson. My second favorite player, and this is, again, incredibly biased. It may not be based off production, but Madre London, just his story, playing in Europe, coming over and to see what he's been able to do, and with the short time of being in the USFL, because remember, he came in after Devion Smith, after all that happened. I love watching him get the rock because he can make some physical plays. And then third, that one's tough. There, you could point to Garrett Groshek. What he's been able to do has also been pretty exciting. Maybe someone from the Generals, either Williams or Victor, maybe pair those two together in a tie because they complement each other so well. So I just gave you the 4, and we'll tie Williams and Victor with each other. How will the USFL, XFL, and MLFB compete for talent? USFL seems stretched thin. Well, the USFL is stretched thin. That's their own doing. They made short rosters. They made these small rosters, and they could have avoided that if they wanted to pay more players, So I don't think that there's a shortage of players, especially if the XFL is paying players more. They're going to be able to attract players from the National Football League. They're going to attract a lot of rookies. Remember, there are guys coming out every single year. There's just an NFL draft where hundreds of players were drafted, and a lot of them will not make rosters, and a lot of them will be on practice squads or not, or just be on the verge. Those are guys who you can definitely bring in. Also, maybe there's some players from fan-controlled football who end up being really, really good. Heck, what if Terrell Owens, Josh Gordon came from fan-controlled football? What if T.O. is just like, you know what? I'm ready. I want to play professionally again. He plays spring. He would dominate. No matter how bad fan attendance will be, it will get better later on. They don't like to be in Alabama. I'm not sure I quite understand it, but yeah, attendance has been getting pretty good for all games, not just the Birmingham games. I haven't really been keeping up with the NFTs just because I've been so busy. I've done the scans at the games that I've been to, but no, I don't really know. I was honestly a little disappointed. I wanted them to do more experience NFTs where you download the NFT and you get a chance to win something, but a lot of it seems like NFT art, which I just really don't care for, to be honest. Love for Luis Perez. Benjamin, you are correct. It was Scooby Wright's game. Ref, if you saw his question, odd operator asking about trading cards. I don't know about the trading cards. Yeah, for Luis Perez, I mean, he's not mobile, and it's hard to get into a rhythm when you're getting replaced every single play. Okay. Moving through before I get off. How is trading players in USFL? I haven't seen anything. So I'm also wondering about that too. I've been saying some teams should trade players, but we haven't seen trades. Love to see that. Yeah, Kyle LaLetta. I mean, we saw positive things from Josh Love, but it's hard to blame either quarterback. Both, I have been saying negative things about Shea Patterson, but seems like the offensive structures aren't great for either team, and it's just been a mess, especially with offensive lines. But I have more faith, honestly, in the Pittsburgh offense than I do in the Michigan offense because, well, Pittsburgh's at least shown us actually, no. It's really tough to pick between two really bad teams, honestly. Maulers don't have a chance versus Birmingham. Can't argue with that one. My favorite NFL team, USFL team, is the Birmingham Stallions. I disagree. The O-line isn't trash. First 2 weeks, the O-line did not give up a sack. Jared, I assume you're talking about the Breakers O-line, because that is true. They did not give up a sack in the first 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, the O-lines, they have, I just felt that the Birmingham Stallions defense they had an incredible night. I think we can all agree on that. They played out of their minds, and maybe it was something we did not see coming because their defense hadn't been playing that great up to that point. Their offense has been playing great up to that point, and their offense was also pretty good versus the Breakers, putting up 22, which was a season low so far. And there's another question to be raised, though. Breakers defenses that they've played so far, the Bandits, the Stars, and the Stallions, not really the top of the line defenses in the USFL. The Bandits have the length and the size, but absolutely no production. The Stars have pretty much kind of in the same category as the Stallions, is not really much to look at defensively when compared to other teams. What QBs will the XFL even have? The USFL can just retain and screw the XFL over. Well, the XFL, I mean, if they're offering more money than the USFL is, players, there's not much loyalty when money is introduced. I can tell you that. But there are definitely quarterbacks out there who they can possibly get. There are a lot of young quarterbacks on practice squads in the National Football League. There are a lot of young quarterbacks coming out of college. I think that they'll be just fine. People were freaking out about the USFL quarterbacks. Remember, back when the quarterbacks were announced, I did a video on it, and people were like, who are these guys? I've never heard of any of these guys. Turns out a lot of them are playing really, really well, and that's just how it is. I'm not worried. I don't know anything about the Arena Football League. I'll check that up, Joe. Yeah, Jared, I agree on that one. No need for war. Yes, Mike. Matt McGloin wouldn't last in FCF. It's too old. Yeah, Matt McGloin. Those were the days. Patterson is a broke man's Baker Mayfield. My player comp to him is Ian Book, the king of scrambling, not going through progressions, and just living on the sideline throws. No cards yet. Thanks for responding, ref. I'm really behind on these questions, and I got to go soon. So I'm the Arena Football League coming back. I don't know, Jose. I'll check on that. What's your prediction on XFL and USFL? Prediction is make a bigger league. I think a lot of people want to see that. Don't know how that's going to happen, though. Coach sipping Jamba Juice out of a straw. I love the name, by the way. Okay, I'm going through these last questions. Do you think the 50-player roster is more optimum size for a spring football league, or the 45 range? Honestly, I think anything is better than what the USFL has. I'm going to be totally honest, because they are thin. They are thin. I know that the XFL is not doing a team 9, but they're extending the roster sizes. Le'Veon Bell, question mark? That would be awesome if they could get him. If anyone can do it, it could be The Rock, though, I feel. Will we see more FCF video content? Yeah, I'm going to start highlighting like things that go on that are newsworthy, but not like analytical, because it's so hard to do with the FCF, and they kind of provide that content already. I don't want to provide content that they're already providing because they work really hard over there. But I am planning, yes, to do things for fan controlled football, including this week. So you'll see some videos. Well, guys, it's 6:41. We're a couple minutes over on the stream. I enjoyed having y'all in. This was really fun. And if y'all have any last questions, make sure to get them in. I'll stay on till 6:43, going on for 2 minutes. Nightmare Assassin, what if Cam Newton goes to the XFL? That would be awesome. I think everybody would want to see that happen. Be absolutely incredible. He would be a quarterback that would probably be a cheat code. Even if he has his shortcomings as a throwing guy because of his surgeries and whatnot, he would be a bulldozer going through. A lot of these leagues have undersized players. One of the reasons many of these players are in the National Football League isn't because of their IQ, some of their other measurables like speed. It's because of their size. And Cam Newton would dominate, I feel. All right, guys. So I'm going to log off now and end the stream. But thank you for joining. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we can move the chains.